there was this barbecue place that was down there, and right next to the barbecue place was a vacant unit.
Isn't Jersey Shore barbecue?
Jersey Shore barbecue.
Yeah.
Right next to them, there was a vacant unit. It was 4,200 square feet, way much bigger than what I needed. And that was the only unit that was open. You know, it had the things in the window, you know, vacancy and all this available. So I went in and I looked at it. I was such in a hurry to do this. I said, you know what? I'm taking it. You know, I didn't know much about it. I said, I'm taking it. And Jersey Shore Barbecue, they didn't know who I was. So when they found out that I wanted to go there, and I understand competition, they didn't like the idea of it. So a phone call was made to the landlord. We don't want them next to us. So they actually asked me, what are you going to do if you come in? Because you can't do other people's food.
Yeah.
So they allow you to do 20% of somebody else's menu. That's it. So I said, you know, hamburgers, hot dogs, sausage, peppers, and onions, Italian hot dogs. So the landlord approved it. He says, all right, you know what, I'll approve it. Jersey Shore Barbecue, they did do hamburgers and all that stuff, but their stuff was, a lot of their stuff was barbecue smoked,
stuff, yeah.
Smoked. So it was a different type of food, different tasting food, you know, and I didn't do much of his food. Basically, it was the burgers. That was really it. I didn't do brisket. I didn't do ribs, you know, so they allowed me to go over there, but he put a complaint that he didn't want me there. So they wound up calling me back and they said, listen, we can't accommodate you. We can't put you there. We're sorry. I said, all right. My kids, my oldest son Anthony and my daughter Nicole, Dad, you got to go in Belmar. That's what made me go to Belmar. I knew nothing about Belmar. I'm not a shore person. Born and raised in Jersey City. You know, I live in Centerville. Like I didn't know what a lawn. We didn't have grass in Jersey City, so I'm not none of that. So I never hung out in Belmar. Growing up, I used to go to Seaside and Ortley Beach and stuff like that. Now I'm going back in the 80s and 90s. You know, so I really didn't know much about Belmar. My son kept telling Dad, you got to go to Belmar. You got to go to Belmar. So in my head, I'm saying, well, the rent is going to be through the roof because it's Belmar. It's a very busy town. I said, so I don't think we're going to be able to do it, you know. So, but that place opened up and I tried and it didn't work out. So about 2 weeks after that, I got a phone call. I was out with my wife and the phone rang. I'm the type of person, if you call me and I don't have you in my phone and a number comes up and I don't know who you are, not that I don't want to talk to you, but if it's important, you'll leave me a message and I'll call you back. Because I really don't like picking up the phone and talking to people I don't. I've always been that way. So I said, whoever it is, they'll leave me a message. And when I got home, I listened to the message. It was this guy, his name was Ron. He said, my name is Ron so-and-so, Ron Katz, his name was. He goes, my name is Ron Katz. He says, I own a tanning salon in the Belmar Strip Mall. He says, I'm interested if you want to, you know, somebody told me you were interested in purchasing, renting one of the stores, if you want to give me a call. So I said to my wife, I said, it's a tanning salon. I don't want a tanning salon. What am I going to do with a tanning salon? Not knowing that he was trying to get out of his lease.
Yeah, he was looking.
He's looking to get out of his lease. So the landlord told him, if you can find somebody to come in and guarantee me somebody to rent it,
I'll let you go.
We'll let you go, and we'll terminate your lease, and we'll start a new one with this guy. So I called him back, and I talked to him, and I wound up going down there the next day. I said, how big is... I needed at least 1,200 square feet. So I said, how big is the place? Now, when you walked in this place, it was a long hallway, and he was sitting at a little desk in the corner, and there was rooms all on the right-hand side and all on the left-hand side. They were all tanning rooms.
Yeah.
So all I'm looking at is a long hallway from the front door to the back door, and him sitting at it. I says, "There's no way I'm putting a restaurant in this place." He said, "I said, how big is it?" He goes, 1,621 square feet, 1,621 square feet. I said, all right, well, it's actually bigger than what I need. I says, but the rooms were throwing me off.
Yeah.
So I kept going back for like 2 weeks with a measuring tape. And I'm doing this all myself, and I'm measuring and measuring. He was such a nice guy. He let me go in. He let me measure all the rooms. And now I'm trying to picture it, because when you go if you go into a place and it's open, you can sketch it on a page. You can visualize where you want things. I'm looking at a hallway with all these rooms, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, you needed to plow the rooms over and start fresh.
I didn't know what to do here, So the landlord, I said to them, you know what? I'll think about it. It was the beginning of May of 2018. I said, I'll think about it. And the realtor wound up calling me, and he says, what do you think about the place? I said, well, it's big enough. I said, I just don't know how I'm going to do this for all the rooms. They said, let us know what you need, and we'll take care of it. I said, well, what do you mean by that? He says, what do you need done in the place? I said, I want to be honest with you. I need everything ripped out. Now, I didn't think they were going to go for it. They says, what do you mean by it? I said, everything you see in there, every room in there. Now, the rooms were numbered. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I said, I need every room ripped out but room number 8. Room number 8 was a tanning room. And I knew in my head, I said, I can use that as a bathroom for the customers. I said, I need everything ripped out and leave me room number 8. He says, all right. He goes, what do you want on the walls? I says, I don't want nothing on the walls. Leave the walls. Because in my mind, I know what I'm very handy with things, like building stuff. And I said, I know what I want to do. I says, leave me the wall. What color paint you want? I said, I don't want no paint. He says, well, when we rip the rooms down, everything's going to be destroyed. I said, leave it that way. I says, while you're at it, rip up the tile off the floor, too. I said, can you do that for me? He says, okay. He says, what do you want us to put down? I says, I want the concrete. He says, so basically you want us to give you an unfinished unit, which we normally don't do. We normally put floors down and we paint the walls. You don't want none of that. I says, no. They says, well, we're going to have you sign something, because if we turn it over to you like that, you got to accept it. I said, all right, no problem. So they ripped everything down. They ripped, everything was ripped down. I walked in there was one room standing there, and I'm looking at the place, and my wife's looking at me, my son's looking at me. He's like, Dad, what are we going to do? I said, we're going to get to work, and we're going to put this place together. I don't have the money to have contractors come in and do all this. I don't have the money to do it.
You got to bootstrap it.
So I says, we're going to do this. So my son's looking at me. He's like, Dad, are you serious? I said, we're going to do this. So I wind up building my tables. The walls, I went and bought the paneling that looked like brick. It looks like brick. I bought that. I bought plywood, sanded the plywood down. I put the plywood right on the wall. And then I stained it. And then next to that piece of plywood, I put a paneling of brick. Then I did plywood, and then a paneling of brick. So I got brick paneling.
Cool.
You know, and I stained everything. So the walls I did myself. The ceiling was the drop ceiling, the white. Went to Home Depot. We rented the sprayer. We wound up spraying the ceiling all black. And we started measuring stuff. And I went out and I bought all the equipment. I wound up getting all the equipment, charged everything on credit cards. Still paying them. Charged everything on credit cards, got all the equipment, put all the equipment. I drew it out how I wanted to do this.
But that's what it takes to get to a dream, man. Like,
it does.
No matter what the level of risk that you're taking, you have to go all in.
You have to.
Like, you got to go take the risk. You got to load the credit cards. You got to play the game with tax, whatever it may be. You need to go throw it on the line to go chase down that dream and that financial freedom.
How I knew is that I went to buy furniture for the place. And when I went to look at the furniture, just the tables and the chairs alone were like $18,000.
Oh yeah, it's expensive.
And I'm like, meanwhile, I don't even have a kitchen equipment. And I said, there's no way I can do this.